Greetings, members one and all of the Salivation Nation. What I hate the most about the American Silver Eagle. Let's explore. Disclaimer, what you are about to witness is my personal opinion, petty as it may seem to some, about the American Silver Eagle. Now, this is a coin that is the most popular and stacked coin in world history for silver, and it is one that most people buy and put away. They buy it by the tube or even the monster box and never open them up. And the people that do have them, many of the actual stackers, they really don't care what it looks like in the long run. However, I will note that since I have had this channel and seen plenty of stackers open up unboxings of the American Silver Eagle, they want a nice coin. And I think really, in the end, most of us do. Now, me, I am biased. I am more of a collector than a stacker, but I do accumulate stacker-type coins, but I do like to cherry-pick them as well for the most part. But there are times where, you know, what's available is not necessarily going to be the most ideal coin. And we'll talk a little bit about that. And this is the American Silver Eagle. This particular specimen looks very nice. It is the most popular silver stacking coin in the world, as I mentioned, and it's a beautiful design. This takes Adolph Weinman's Walking Liberty $50 design to a new level of sharpness and detail that is stunning, for sure. On the reverse, we have John Mercanti's heraldic eagle there, with wings widespread, e pluribus unum, as a ribbon in the mouth, the beak of the eagle there, with arrows, and the one on the right-hand side there, on the left paw, are talons of the eagle, and on the right talons, we see the olive branch. A very nice, stunning, detailed design for sure, with 13 stars. It is a beautiful coin, and this one looks very nice. I have no complaints about this American Silver Eagle. I think it's wonderfully done. So, that leaves us to what I don't like or hate about the American Silver Eagle. And I think that for most of us, you know, we can apply this to not just the Silver Eagle, but to other coins as well. You know, if we're stacking, some of us think toning's okay, others don't. But you see, sometimes it will tone, and that's related to sulfur in the air and other impurities. But that can be gotten rid of fairly easily by dipping the coin. But what we don't like is milk spotting. Milk spotting, though it is not as common on American Silver Eagles, it has been known to happen, as you can see with this example here. And you can see it here on the back as well. Milk spotting is something that does occur with American Silver Eagles, and it is unfortunate, though not nearly as often as with what happened with the Royal Canadian Mint with the maple leafs. Now, in 2018, they had remedied that situation with something what's known as Mint Shield. Mint Shield did away with the spotting, all that I have seen. And they don't promise to completely obliterate milk spotting, but I have not seen one example of a coin minted after 2017 from the Royal Canadian Mint that has had any milk spots on it. You rest assured that the United States Mint will probably not invest in that technology or that solution because it is not as big a problem. But still, it is something that will pop up from time to time, spotting on American Eagles. The other thing that I hate about the American Eagles, and again, hate is a strong word, I'll say dislike for the most part, is sometimes it will have inconsistent finishes on the coins. And here's an example of one such coin that has a sort of a frosting, but it's a little inconsistent, especially when you look at it in different light, and how it, is sort of not persistent and consistent with even with the obverse or for the reverse between the obverse and reverse, it may differ slightly. Maybe heavier frosted on one side than the other. And the United States Mint did that through the mid to late 2000s. You saw this finish, this sort of that heavy frosted finish, which was kind of a cool thing. It looked pretty neat, but when it was inconsistent, it really made the coins ugly. And it also brings about scratches, much easier to see scratches on this type of surface too, or abrasions. As you can see right there, there's abrasions that pop up, and so that is an annoyance for sure when you see that kind of thing. That's less seen on the later ones that don't have that kind of situation going on. It's tougher to see abrasions and that type of thing, although they may still be there for sure. Now, the other thing with the American Silver Eagle, that inconsistency and that sort of how it's changed over the years in terms of its finish and in that regard is it's people are saying, probably screaming at the screen right now, it's a stacker coin. Why are you worried about that? It's still an American Silver Eagle. Well, it's small little things like that as collectors that are an annoyance, but it's not a huge deal. But it is something that I, essentially hate about the American Silver Eagle. But what do I hate the most about the American Silver Eagle? And that is the rim. That's right. The rim of the American Silver Eagle is really not consistent. In fact, here you can see on this one, on the reverse, it is off-center. You can see here where it says fine silver, $1. It's much thicker on that side than it is at the top, and it's kind of it looks to be beveled at the top here, like it overran the die or something, and they find some way to scrape it off there. So inconsistent rims or off-center strikes, not very appealing in my view for the American Silver Eagle, and that's my biggest pet peeve with the Eagle. And here you can see on this dated 2000 American Silver Eagle, the rim is extra wide at the top and barely nothing there at the bottom. And on this side, it's relatively fine. The Mint has tolerances for this type of thing, and I guess this falls within their tolerance, but they're pretty loose in my opinion compared to others. Look at that. It's wider there than it is there. It's much thinner up there, and again, it's beveled. And you'll see that. My LCS has some 2020 Eagles, and they're all off-center, either on the obverse or the reverse. And the thing is they can fix this. They can have coins with consistent strikes and consistent pattern with the edges and rims. Now, one thing in defense of the American Silver Eagle is it does have a pretty narrow rim. But when you look at other coins from other mints, look at that. The Noah's Ark, it's pretty much dead on. And this is just a regular. Now, this is a pretty nice proof-like finish, but it is a bullion. That may be a poor example. But here we have the Australian mint, and this is, I believe, 40 millimeters as well. Yep, and it is a consistent rim all the way around. Always, the Perth Mint does a great job with that. They have a consistent rim all the way around. Same thing with the Britannia. The Britannia has a very consistent rim for the most part. I have seen some Britannias that have an inconsistent rim, but nonetheless, it's not as likely to see that as it is the case with the Silver Eagle. Here's a Fiji Taku with some pretty strong toning on parts of it, and it's got a pretty consistent rim on both sides here. There you see it. And I think a best example would be the Philharmonic. The Philharmonic is always, I've never seen a Philharmonic off center. Very nice, beautiful rims, consistent throughout on both sides. That is amazing. They have been known to spot, as you can see here, as well. And so have the Britannias have been known to milk spot. But the rims have always been consistent through and through. Now, probably the best example, the closest example to the American Silver Eagle would be the Libertads, the modern Libertads. And as you can see here, this one has a pretty consistent rim all the way around. But I have seen some examples where the Libertads have been struck off center too, but not as often as the American Silver Eagle. So it's frustrating that the Eagle has these problems. And here, this one here that I showed before, it has an inconsistent rim, struck off center. A huge pet peeve of mine. And again, for those of you who didn't see the beginning of this video, keep in mind this is disclaimer, is that this is just my opinion. And I'm one of those that is sort of picky about that sort of thing. I like to find a coin that's beautiful and with great quality. Now, there is another example, probably an even greater example that we'll see here, and that is with the Krugerrands. The Krugerrands have now come into the marketplace in 2018 as a bullion coin, and this is an example of one. They've got pretty nice, consistent rims, but there are occasions where they're a little off-center too, and this one is ever so slightly still within my tolerances of enjoyment here for that. And but I think that is something. Here's one. Here is an example of a Krugerrand that is struck off-center slightly, but it's not a deal breaker, but it is noticeable. And when they're beveled on one edge and not on the other edge, that is another pet peeve in relation to that. I'm not sure why that happens in the striking process, but it is a bummer nonetheless. So there you have it. It is what I hate the most about the American Silver Eagle. And but make no mistake, I do not hate the American Silver Eagle, but what I hate about the design and some way that I think the U.S. Mint should get some quality control there in that regards. This is something I wanted to say for a while. Just thought it was kind of interesting indeed. So what are your thoughts? Are you probably shouting at the screen saying, who cares? Or is this a concern for you too? Just thought I'd share my thoughts. We have to enjoy what we stack, I believe. And I think it's okay to be critical of what we stack as well. So there you have it. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.